Hey family, it's Tasha MAMABEAR Prepping. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel where we just talk about emergency preparedness. We really just talk about different things that can happen, things that me and my family are doing to prepare, and then hopefully that will help you with you and yours when you do your emergency planning as well. So let's get into it. Get your drink, pull up. We're going to talk about it. We are going to talk about a very common question that I get, and that is what to expect, what is going to happen. What are you prepping for? This list I came up with you for today is not necessarily what am I prepping for. It's more along the lines of, wow, I just realized this plant that I watered has water everywhere. It's more about just what are the things that I believe could happen this next year, over the next few months, year. And this is kind of just everyday stuff. This is just kind of my thought process about things that I won't be surprised that are going to happen or are already happening. And I just am thinking there's more of it to come. And so that's all this list merely is. So I've got 8 things for you today. These are things to expect in the next months to year. Different things that, are things that you need to prepare for, okay? Number 1 is, and these are in no order, you guys, continued rise in violence and crime. Notice I said rise. We've already had a rise and an increase in crime, in violence, and personal one-on-one attacks for no reason. And a lot of this has been, mental illness has been at the forefront of this. Some of this is people that just are snapping, right? They're not able to handle life because violence and crime is not just like, okay, people are breaking into people's houses or whatever, right? Thieves. Some of this is sad stuff, suicides. This is people who are murder-suicides, family members, men, women who are snapping and literally killing themselves, killing their whole entire families, beautiful families, right? And so this is across the board. We're going to see an increase in deaths in relation to violence and crime, and whether it's just thieving in your area or whatever it is, there's going to be more of that, okay? And so we're going to see an increase. We're going to continue to see that rise. That's what I think you should expect. Another thing to expect, number 2, is more bank closures, more bank failures, closures, whatever you want to call it, whether they do it themselves or whether they do it because they're forced to, they have to, because they actually go under. But what is it exactly that you have to do to protect yourself? Now, a lot of people would say, well, I don't really care because by law, they have to give me my money back, right? I don't think that this is such a big deal. But it is just the inconvenience of not having your money, even if it's for a short period of time, not being able to get your paycheck, something happening with your deposit for your work, can't pay bills, can't pull out cash, no ATMs that are affiliated or able to get the money out. It's a big, big deal, right? If a bank closes and they just put a hold on the money, now it doesn't matter if you had, you're going to have to, you're trying to order stuff online, Amazon, whatever, and your card's not going to work, right? There's not going to be a valid bank account that's attached to that. And that's a problem. And it's a problem if you can't get your money. So you've got to get your things, have your cash out. It's more than having just emergency cash. You need to have cash, right? You need to give yourself options. Whether you put that into assets, whether you put it into something else, gold, silver, or just hold the cash, but you've got to do whatever you're going to do to not have all your eggs in a basket when it comes to your banks, okay? So I think you can expect more bank closures, i.e. bank failures, and how that would affect you and your family if that happened, and if it happened unexpectedly to you and your the bank that you use. Number 3 I have is continued buying and selling hardships, right? A lot of channels will talk to you about financials, buying, selling homes, the real estate, housing market, housing crash, whatever you want to call it right now, increase in interest rates. It's hardcore. Whether you believe this is the squeeze on the American people, squeeze on the middleman, it's hard. It's hard to watch. It's hard to be a part of. And it's difficult. It's difficult for people who are selling. It's difficult for people who are buying. It's squeezing out a whole group of middle America who are not able now to purchase a home, which is like just the American dream of being able to purchase your own home. And that's hardcore. Or you maybe have a house, you've done this already, but you're trying to move on, you're trying to do something else, and you're trying to sell for whatever reason, and you're having a difficult time doing that, right? There's a lot of houses on the market right now that are just holding patterns. They're not going anywhere. They're not flying off the shelves like they used to, and or you're seeing huge decreases in prices, right? Because people are trying to sell and they can't for whatever reason. Now, some people are doing great because they're still in areas where selling and buying is rampant. And so for sellers, it's still great because there's a demand there. If there's demand there, there's a demand there. But it's getting very, very difficult, okay? So you're going to see continued buying and selling hardships. Number 4 I have is more supply chain disruptions. If you've been watching, the whole stuff on the West Coast right now, supply chain issues with laborers and labor talks and striking, and that's the whole West Coast. That's Seattle, that's Los Angeles. The whole gambit is having a problem right now. And what's happened is, even when that happens for one day, there's extreme hardships that happen with that in regards to the flow of your supplies that are coming into those ports. And so it is bad. We have a huge backup right now. It's kind of, echoing the stuff that we've already dealt with COVID and different things like that. It's not good, right? And nobody's really talking about it. We're not seeing it really covered on the news a lot. Now, if you go and just Google right now, you're going to be able to find stuff, right? Just put in port supply chains right now or something along those lines. It's going to pop up, right? So this stuff's going on. Nobody's really talking about it, but this has a direct correlation to the items that you're able to get, the things you're able to find in the store, shortages that we talk about. And this is shortages in food, in products, in products that make products, right? The ingredients that make products. It's not good, okay? So get ready for that. Number 5 is a decrease in available meds. We've been seeing this slightly, but I think it's very, very important to get your prescription meds. You start going to your company so that you can get your prescription meds, and start stockpiling everything that you possibly can, even vitamins, over-the-counter medicines, vitamins, prescription meds, anything that you can get stockpiled, your JASE case, your antibiotics. I mean, I just think it's extremely important. I think this should be a priority anyway right now, just because of where we are on the line with conflict with foreign entities. Right, things are okay right now, but the minute that we go to any type of war with China, we're going to be hurting with that supplies that's coming in. If you couple that with looming, war and what could happen, and you couple that with the actual disruption that's happening right now at the ports, medicine, that's going to be a big deal. Okay, so a decrease in available medicine. We talk about that on this channel all the time. Water, food, meds, super important, and still it needs to be at the forefront of your preparedness stuff. Number 6 is food shortages. Hey, it wouldn't be a list if we weren't talking about food shortages and expectations and what to expect. I think you should continue to see problems with our food chain, inability and what you're able to get on the shelves, and the amount and volume of stuff that you're going to be able to get on the shelves. Okay, I'm not saying, hey, you should expect empty shelves in the next year, but you should definitely continue to see shortages. Okay, however that affects you and yours where you're at. Okay, because everybody's a little bit different where they live. Number 7, extreme weather. This is just everything. If hurricane season's coming up, I think you should be concerned that it's going to be harder, okay? Fire season's coming up. We're already seeing that with Canada and how that's affecting states in our United States, and that's really, really bad, and that's going to be worse. I think we're overdue for earthquakes, and I think that that's going to be extremely bad. And then you talk about, tornado season, and you talk about weather in regards to flooding and drought and extreme, heat. And then you talk about, weather in regards to wintertime, right? Blizzards and heavy rain and mudslide and the things that causes. I just think that extreme weather has been happening the last couple of years, and I think that you should know that it's going to continue to change and get worse. So it's going to get worse, and it's going to change. We've been seeing it change, seasons change, right? And so learning how to adapt with that, especially if you grow food, raise animals, all of that stuff, weatherizing your home, all of those things matter, okay? So really need to get smart on weather and natural disasters that are caused by weather in your area and how that will work out, okay? Number 8 I have is Black Swan event. I believe, this is my last one, you guys, I believe that a Black Swan event is going to happen in the next year. Black Swan event, huge catastrophic event where majority of people know where everybody knows what's going on and the majority of people are not ready. It's extreme, it's hardships, immediate problems, immediate violence, immediate chaos. It's an SHTF situation. And I think that people are like, oh, this could be, crazy Tasha talk, talking about nukes are going to fall and all this stuff. Baby, I think that the West Coast alone is so overdue for earthquakes, whether you're talking about subduction zone up here by where I'm at, Oregon, Washington, parts of Cali, or you talk about down south, right, San Andreas Fault. Overdue for a big earthquake. And when it comes, because it's coming, that's going to cause not only catastrophic problems with the earthquake itself, but in certain areas like my area, the tsunami. And it's going to be devastating for not only the West Coast, but everybody inland, all the states, rest of the states, as people, millions and millions and millions of people migrate, out of those that didn't die, migrate across, the United States. Okay. This is a big deal. That's just an example, but I believe that a Black Swan event is going to happen in the next year. And that's just an example of something major that could happen. I think that you can expect a Black Swan event, which is an event that is catastrophic, that everybody knows about, everybody is aware is happening, and the majority are not ready for it. And we are thrown into, and we are brought to our knees in regards to preparedness and to survival. And it's the basics. It's the survival, having the food, the water, the meds. It's the basics, having the ability to live with no power, to live in a little bit of strife, right? To be able to protect, the ability to protect yourself, right? And defend your home, defend your family. Those are big deals, right? And I think that a lot of people do not want to talk about this stuff, think about this stuff. It's heavy, right? But this is my life. This is our life here. This is the stuff we prepare for. This is the stuff that I think you guys should expect is going to happen in the next whatever, months, years, whatever. But sooner than later, this stuff is stuff to expect over the next year. Okay, so I would love to hear in the comments below your guys' thoughts, things that you guys think are going to happen. If you put this list together, what are some stuff that you would have added or that you would have talked about or discussed? Share it with the group. Knowledge is power. We absolutely love the comments over here. And I will see you guys next time on the next video. Take care. Bye.